This is 3 at 3. Let's get the presentation started up. If you're new to it, folks, 3 at 3 is our unusual activity. And we put this up so that you know exactly what we have been following. Now, by the way, so far today we've got 24 separate posts for unusual activity. So this 3 at 3, these are cherry picked by me as far as what's been catching my eye, what I have been trading. And with that said, if you want to learn more about it, just go to marketrebellion.com. That's marketrebellion.com. The disclaimer, as usual, just says this is for educational and informational purposes only. Pete, myself, Mike, Brian, Chris, Ryan, we all put this stuff together. We post it throughout the day, as I said, and this is something that we think you should be interested in because it is basically an algorithm that is looking for block trades that are done on the call side or the put side of the market. Calls, of course, bullish speculation, puts, bearish speculation. Get the idea. Let's dive in. Yesterday we told you about Netflix, and Netflix, when the stock was $376, we said, wow, look at this bullish call buying in Netflix. 5,000 of these April 390 calls bought from 271 up to 535. So we followed it, and there it was yesterday as it moved up to nearly 400. There is a graph of the option that we talked about, those 390 calls. Those 390 calls moved up from that entry, let's say between $3 and $5 in rough terms, all the way up to $12.50 bid offered at 13 at the end of the day. And you see where they started buying those right as we posted it. Today, bang, these calls moved all the way up to $27. So that's a 10x for my friend Grant Cardone out there. That's 10 times your money. If you got in at $2.71 or thereabouts, this is 10 times that because they traded for $27. And as you see, traded all the way up over $28 today. Now, as I told you, I sold a lot of 400 calls against my 390s, putting myself into a $10 spread. And I'm quite happy with the spread. It's one of the disciplines that I put upon myself. And as you see, those calls are up 117% today. But since they closed at around 13 yesterday, moving to 27, 28 means that they doubled, but they're up a lot more than that if you look at them from the beginning. So, a couple factoids for you. Netflix averaged 71,000 calls per day in the month of March. Netflix traded 151,000 calls yesterday. And they did 140,000 calls so far today. They're going to surpass yesterday's volume easily. Most active today is this Friday expiration, so that is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 days into the future, 420 calls. And they had already traded 14,000 of those calls. That's another big bang, so keep an eye on that. Those calls, those 420 calls, how have they done today? They've done pretty well. So, in other words, I more or less locked up the value of my trade yesterday when I sold the 400s against the 390s that I owned. Today, I got into these 420s. See how they've done. Looking on the screens, the screen on the left says the 420 calls this morning, as you can see, opened at, say, $1.66-ish. That's right around the first trades when the stock was trading $3.95. As you note the stock moving up, the high of the day so far, these calls have traded up to $8.67. How's that for a trade, folks? You went from $1.66 today to $8.67 today. So let's say right around 6 times your money. today, 600%. That's why you trade options. That's why you guys tune in for 3 at 3, because I bring you this every day at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's look at another, shall we? CRM. I talked about this one yesterday, and I said, take a look at these 12,000 calls. Somebody wanted to own 1.2 million share equivalent of Salesforce.com, and they did it through an in-the-money purchase of a call. So again, embedded information. They used an in-the-money call. That's a surrogate for stock. They wanted to own it out into the future. They didn't just think it was going to be a bang and that's it. They wanted to own it thinking it's going to move up and Mr. Benioff is going to reward all of those shareholders with fantastic performance. Well, he has. In fact, the stock moving up from 151 to 158 today. So it's up $5.74 so far today, which means that an in-the-money call is virtually moving lockstep with that. They're probably up over $5 on this trade. They did 1.2 million share equivalents, so you get the idea. $500 times 1.2 million. Let's say $6 million on this trade so far. Bang! That's again why you trade options. All right, fresh meat, 3 at 3. Let's dive in. Microsoft, one of my biggest holdings, as you know. If you follow me at all, you know that Apple and Microsoft are two of my biggest holdings. Microsoft trading at $173.67. Somebody steps in, and you know what they buy? Did they buy this week expiring options? No. Did they buy next week expiring options? No. They bought the end of May expiring options, the 29th of May. So embedded information. They bought 8,800, which is 800,000, almost 900,000 share equivalent of Microsoft. That's a player you probably want to follow, right? Also, they bought them more than $10, $14 higher than where the stock was trading, because they bought the 187.50s with the stock at 173.67. So, out of the money call, they bought almost 900 share equivalent, and they paid between $2, let's say, and $2.85 for those. Earnings for Microsoft are at the end of this month. So they wanted this held through earnings. Now, Microsoft Teams is one of the reasons, perhaps, that they want this, because Microsoft Teams is a way for people to communicate broadly, much like Zoom and some of these other apps, and they have been crushing it. Microsoft has. So take a look at this. Again, end of May, 187.50 calls with the stock at 173. Where's the stock now? Still at 173. And look at that jump from yesterday when the stock was basically as low as 163 and finished just over 165 with a $2 rally into the bell, like a lot of NASDAQ stocks, including, of course, Netflix, which drove the market for NASDAQ yesterday. Look at this today. We gap up to 168, so a $3 gap, give or take, and boom, 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 just kept on moving up. Player decides, you know what, 187.50s, I want those. So they bought those and put about $2, which is $200, 8,000 times, almost 9,000 times, 9,000 times 200, 1.8 million. That's how much they put into this trade. Bang. That's why you want to follow it. Walmart. That's our second in the 3 at 3. Walmart. They come in today with the stock at 129, and they buy not this week, next Friday expiring call. So information next Friday, not this Friday. So they wanted about, let's call it 10 days for this thing to play out. They paid between 33 cents and 78 cents. Since every option is for 100 shares, that's $33 to $78 per option, 4,000 times. So, knowing that they did this, and also did some June 150 calls, even higher up, but obviously much further into the future, we followed in here, and right now we're at 128.40 just moments ago. So it's eased back just a little bit. And it's up about $2 and let's say 2.5%, $3.10. Bang, watch this one. Last one, Tilray. This is one a lot of you probably remember because I talked about it when it first came out of IPO, and as it was moving higher, I was trading out of it. In fact, CNBC did an article on that as I sold it somewhat stupidly at $200 and a little bit more as it moved through 200. The same day it hit 300. Same day it closed back near 200. And it has been whoomp, 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 moving to the downside virtually ever since. So, Tilray, with the stock just below 7, they come in and buy 10,000 April 7th. These are options that expire in 3 days, my friends. So that's why I want to pay attention to it. Somebody thinks they have tomorrow's newspaper today. They're buying a very short-term option. They paid 30 cents all the way up to 60 cents for these options. That means $30 to $60. $60, 10,000 times $60. That's 600 grand. That's a trader you want to pay attention to. Now, here's the bit. Number one, they bought something that expires in 3 days. First bit of information. Second bit of information, they bought 10,000, nearly a million share equivalent. Pretty serious. I will be in these calls probably until Thursday afternoon unless they're just fall apart, and then I'll dump them before then. My rule, of course, is loses half its value, I'm out. I'm into these for right around 50 cents today. So if this thing takes off through 7, I'll be a very happy camper. If it starts breaking down and these calls go to 25 cents, I'll cut it and move on to the next trade. Let's see where it is now. Just through 7, higher by about 50 cents. And as you see, folks, this is year to date. Stock was over 20 in January. It was over in February, it was over 15 for virtually the entire month. And then in March, that's when the pain really accelerated. Fell from 15 all the way down to about $3 a share. Well, it's rebounded to 7. Somebody wants to bet that maybe Tilray does okay over the next little bit, which would mean that Tilray goes through 7, and instead of betting their money on 7, they put it on calls. Paid 60 cents, paid less than 1/10. If you bought them for 30 cents, congratulations. But like I said, 30 cents to 60 cents is what they paid. They drove this thing, and I'm running right along with them. For the short term, we'll see. Like I say, probably till Thursday, but let's see where this one goes. And if it falls to 25 cents, I'll be out. All right, folks, thank you for joining me. This, as always, is my description of what I see for unusual activity as assembled by our team, my brother Pete, Mike Yamamoto, Brian McCormick, Chris Sikora, Ryan Mastro. These are all folks that help post this information on our site throughout the trading day every business day. So you want to get information like this, go check out marketrebellion.com because that's where we post this throughout the day. You want to do 15 trades, 20 trades a day, we got them over at Market Rebellion. And if you're somebody that wants something a little less aggressive, something that's maybe 1 trade a day or even 1 trade a week, we've got a service for that. Just check them all out at marketrebellion.com. We've got a lot of exciting stuff to talk to you guys about over the next little bit. I hope you join us again soon. And I thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a great afternoon, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for 3 at 3.